So let's be real for a second. We're always talking about the glow up, the new wardrobe, the fresh cut, a new zip code, postcode, whatever code. But nobody talks about enough is like that internal invisible glow up, the one that happens inside your mind. And I get it. It's way less glamorous to talk about belief systems more than maybe Botox or whatever Ozempic prescription that you have. But trust me when I say, if your mindset is stuck, your life will feel stuck too. So today we're diving in and talking about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and why making the shift is the foundation for literally everything that you want in life: success, healing, confidence, peace, reinvention, all of it, and beyond, I would say. So what is a fixed mindset, and how can you get one? So, actually, what am I saying? So, what is a fixed mindset? Let's break it down. A fixed mindset is the belief that you're born with a set amount of talent or intelligence, and that's it. You grow up and you have certain experiences that make you believe what you're capable of or not capable of. And a growth mindset is the belief that you can upskill, that your intelligence expand and grow, and your intelligence is your strength, like all of it. All of this can be developed. So you're not stuck where you started. So let me give you an example. When I was in high school, I convinced myself I was bad at math and I didn't really try very hard. I had a tutor, but I'd literally get anxiety just, before tests, looking at numbers. But really, the truth is, I just really, I never really gave up the space to learn because I did have my tutor and I asked for help when I needed it. But I was too scared of being seen as struggling and looking weak and looking stupid. And I always compared myself to all my friends because they were all so smart and doing so well, better grades, much more confident, that sort of thing. And for me, that's what I would define or explain as a fixed mindset. So years later, when I became an adult, like many of us, like all of us actually, what am I saying? So years later, when I became an adult, like all of us, and I had to start managing my money better, and having to pay bills, having to pay rent, all the sorts of things. I had no choice but to learn. And guess what? I got much better at it. And it's not overnight, but with help, with effort and with time and asking advice, reading books, learning, going online, asking for advice. And it's redefined how I see myself and what I'm capable of. So, the moral of the story is how you see yourself shapes what you're willing to try and if you're willing to change. Because at the end of the day, like, things are going to keep happening to us and problems get more complex as we get older, or like at least they have for me. This is not a linear path and not everyone goes through the same stuff, but you are capable of learning and doing anything. No one wakes up and becomes a rocket science like this. Sorry, no one wakes up and becomes a rocket scientist. Those people go through school. Those people learn physics. Those people get an education that prompts them and helps them get into that field, and any field. Doctors, lawyers, mechanics, you name it. Like, no one just learns this stuff. Obviously, some people are more adept at that and have interest, but anything can be learned. So how does it show up in your daily life? A fixed mindset doesn't just show up in school. It shows up in your relationships, your work, and your self-worth. Have you ever caught yourself saying things like, ugh, I'm just not confident like her. I just suck at dating. I'm always the friend, never the girlfriend. I'm not cut out to be the boss. Yep, that is fixed mindset energy. And trust me, I've said all of these things to myself before. And, over the years, I've learned a lot and practiced a lot. And I would say, for example, a few years ago, I remember I was hosting my first workshop, and I had never done a workshop before. I was like working in Spain as UX designer. I think I was like in Germany or something, and I didn't necessarily know what I was doing. But at the same time, I had a whole team of other people who have run workshops who can help me and who can give me guidance, because they can just they shared their decks with me. They told me the different exercises that they did so that they could get the information that they could from the client. And I just I used my knowledge as a UX designer. I used my knowledge and ability to research and find out, okay, what are some peers or schools of thought on this? And, I was worried, and I'm like, oh my God, what if I bomb? What if I forget everything? What if I literally talk myself? Like I had to literally talk myself into the belief that I wasn't perfect and I'd learn to get better. And I did. I do great workshops now, and I can do workshops for, professionally for UX design to help companies build better digital products, or I can do workshops on manifestation and mindset, fixed mindset, growth mindset, like I'm talking about today. And honestly, spoiler alert, that workshop that I was stressed out about wasn't flawless, but it worked. I got what I needed. People left feeling inspired. I got great feedback. And the next day, I realized the only thing that held me back was all of those years of believing that I had to be amazing before I even began. And, I even think about, people that I admire. Like, no one's perfect. Like, you have to build into this confidence, and confidence compounds. So the more things that you do and the more things that happen to you build confidence, or it can also build, insecurity. Like, if you're very insecure, if more things happen to you that make you feel insecure, you'll build a whole belief system around that. So you have to be really aware of what you're telling yourself and how you're feeling and how to move through that. And it's okay to feel bad sometimes. Bad things happen to all of us, but you just have to sit with those feelings and let them go, because that's all it is. They're feelings. They're not who you are. It's just something that happened to you that you had to deal with, but you got to let it go. So let me share 5 ways to shift into a growth mindset. And one thing that I like to do is, the first thing I like to do is add yet to your vocabulary. So when you say, oh, I'm not good at something, you just say, I'm not good at that thing yet. So even like in real life, like this podcast, my podcast, this one you're listening to, it almost didn't happen. I told myself, I'm not a podcaster. I don't know how to do audio. I'm not techie. And then I said, well, I'm not those things yet. And now what? This is like I don't even know what episode this is, but it's in the teens already. And, just by adding yet into the story, turns it into a possibility instead of it just being a dead end and cutting you off. Because I don't know, I'm going to assume that if I keep doing this in, 40 episodes, this podcast is going to be a lot better than it is now. And I'm fine with that. And I'm happy that I'm even showing up for myself. And that's already something to be proud of and to keep pushing through. Also, the second thing I want to say is celebrate your effort, not just the results. Just like I said, I'm showing up for me, and sharing this information with you and getting this together is not easy, but I had to stop waiting until I'm there and just celebrate myself. So yeah, like when I launched this, like anything, you start anything, I didn't have that many listens or anything. And I learned I didn't have that many when I launched this podcast, I didn't have that many subscribers or that many people listening to it. So I had to learn how to build this from scratch. I had to learn how to write a script. I had to learn how to use the technology, set up my webcam, get this mic, figure out how to record this, how to edit this, how to share this, how to market it, and what's the best medium to put it on. So I'm at the moment, I've just put it on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts through an RSS feed, which I didn't even know was really a thing until I had to do that, or how it worked. And that's worth celebrating. I've become the version of me who tries. So now I reward the effort and not just the wins. And you should too. The third thing is reframing failure. Like, failure is not the end. It's data, it's information. Learn from it, grow from it. Everybody fails. All the people at the top, the billionaires, the multimillionaires, all those people, they failed a bunch of times before they made it. They had other ideas, they learned things, and no one learns from not making mistakes. And, I've done a lot of speaking gigs. I've done a lot of workshops. I've done a lot of stuff. And I once did a speaking gig that felt like a total flop. And I didn't really feel like I knew my audience well enough. And I was so nervous. I just kind of skipped through like one of the key points. And I didn't even really get much of an applause or anything. And I just spiraled. But when I reflected later, I realized like I just need better prep. I need a simpler deck and I need backup notes. And I want to make sure that I don't have to lean on someone else if there's someone else there and if I don't have my shit together. But you know what? I didn't fail. I learned. That speech made my next ones 10 times better. So no one's perfect. It happens to the best of us. And you just gotta if you make a mistake, notice it. Think about what you can do better and move on. And honestly, no one even will remember that talk anyway. So whatever. The fourth thing is normalize being a beginner. You're allowed to suck before you shine. And, okay, you're allowed to suck before you shine. So story time. When I first moved to Barcelona, I didn't speak a word of Spanish. Speaking to people like grocery shopping felt terrifying, and I once bought yogurt instead of sour cream and I felt so silly. But I signed up for Spanish classes. I got a tutor, and after like months of dedication and effort and really like listening to the language, watching shows in Spanish with Spanish subtitles, like I was ordering tapas. I was speaking like Spanish, and I still can speak Spanish, and I'm very proud of that. I speak a Castellano Spanish from Spain, so it's not always easy to understand, Spanish from other countries, but being a beginner is brave. And I'll never forget that. Like I tried and now I'm doing it, and I'm not perfect, but I can talk to people. I can have conversations. I can explain things, and it took effort, and I was a beginner. And when I decided to learn other language, or if I decide to do other skills, I'm okay with being a beginner because everyone is a beginner at one point, and that's fine. It doesn't matter how old you are or whatever. And if people are going to hate on you, just let the haters hate, because they're not like, are they showing up? Are they learning a new language? Are they learning a new skill? They're just sitting in their comfort zone, not growing, not learning, but you are. So it's all good. And just let the haters hate, and just move them out of move them out of your life, but don't let them take up space in your life. They're not worth it. And the fifth thing is get curious, not judgmental. So instead of beating yourself up, ask questions. I used to spiral anytime I was, if I'm in a bad headspace, like, if I applied for a job and didn't hear back, I think we would have struggled in our own ways. The economy the last couple of years wasn't great, and I was looking for a job for a while, and I just started to, rather than understand the economics around what was going on in the world, I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? What's going on? Like, I decided, okay, my growth mindset kind of started tingling a little bit, and it goes, why did I react this way? What wound is this poking at, and what can I learn here? And I realized, like, it's not just like I'm a great UX designer, UX researcher. I'm a great workshopper. I know I'm great. Why am I telling myself all these negative things? And that shift from shame to curiosity has saved me the last year of self-sabotage. And I would even say this was like about a year ago. I was like quite in a dark hole. But I've managed to climb out of it, and now I'm doing this podcast, and it feels really good. So just get curious and stop being judgmental. And we are always our harshest critics. So just think about, if you're saying this nasty stuff to yourself, would you say that to your friend? No, you wouldn't. So why are you saying that to yourself? So most importantly, why this shift is the real glow up. So here's the thing. Like I said at the beginning, a new wardrobe is cute, but a mindset, like a new wardrobe is cute. A new haircut, like a new fresh haircut is cute. Like moving to a new place is great, but a mindset shift, that's magnetic. And that's what really changes how you walk into rooms and the energy that you put onto the world. That's how you handle rejection, and that's how you start over. A fixed mindset keeps you playing defense, and a growth mindset teaches you to trust yourself on offense. You're not stuck, you're just at a starting point, and there's always room to stretch, to learn, and to blossom. So, if this episode hit home, and if in any part you thought, damn, I've been holding myself back, I want you to know that it's okay, and you get to change, and you get to evolve. And this is not about perfection. It's about permission to be new, permission to be messy, permission to believe that something better is possible for you. So just start today, and you don't even need to start with a dramatic shift. Just start with a new sentence. Something like, I don't have to get it right. I just have to keep going. I'm not where I want to be yet. And also, one thing I like to say is I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, because even in this moment, putting this podcast together, telling my friends about it, I really helped tap into all the abundance around me. Like, I have a friend who's a photographer who helped me put some photos together. I have a friend who's a cinematographer and director, and he's like, oh, let me help you put things together for an intro and all these things that I'm learning about YouTube. And so honestly, if you're not where you want to be yet, remember, life is a journey, not a destination. So until next time, keep growing, even if it's quiet.